A Fox 61 exclusive now. The Hartford police chief is speaking out after putting a sergeant on paid leave for allegedly punching a woman in the face. It's being investigated both internally and criminally by the Hartford State's Attorney's Office. Fox 61's Matt Karen live in Hartford right now with the exclusive interview today. Matt.
Yeah, that's right, guys. The Hartford Police Department is conducting an internal review under their own use of force policy. But at the same time, the Hartford State's Attorney's Office is conducting a separate criminal investigation.
It was a potential use of force that may have been outside of our policy and training.
The incident happened March 15th, but Chief Thody made the decision to put Sergeant Guzzi on paid leave last Thursday. Why did it take so long?
So initially, he was off injured as a result of the incident for a few days, but that review policy gives the commander 15 days to review the force.
Sergeant Guzzi is accused of punching a woman who was brought into the PD's detention facility after she was arrested for a domestic incident.
She ended up striking out at officers, both with her hands and spitting at officers, and force was used against her to subdue her.
The incident was run up the chain of command, reviewed by a supervisor, the commander of the division, Chief Thody, and a use of force instructor from the police academy.
And his determination was that it should be investigated further.
The Hartford State's Attorney's Office agreed and is now conducting a parallel criminal investigation. They won't release the video of the incident until the woman has been interviewed.
So as long as the video won't compromise the investigation, I will 100% advocate for the release of the video.
Fox 61 learned it's not the first time Sergeant Guzzi has had a blemish. He was arrested in 2018 in East Windsor for a domestic incident, placed on paid leave by Hartford PD then. But ultimately, all charges were dropped and Guzzi was promoted by Chief Thody to sergeant in 2020.
Because this prior incident didn't result in any discipline and actually resulted in all of the charges being dismissed against him, he was promoted.
And while the investigation centers on Sergeant Guzzi, Chief Thody says at least 4 other people's decisions are under review, including an intake and transport officer.
So whether she should have been unhandcuffed or left handcuffed is a question. The de-escalation techniques used by the other officers that were there.
And the Hartford State's Attorney's Office told us that they will eventually be releasing the video of this incident, but they have to interview that woman first. That woman did decline medical treatment and ended up not filing any complaint against the officer. We're live outside the Hartford Police Department. Matt Karen, Fox 61 News.